Thanks for doing this, man. Like I really do appreciate it. And thanks for coming on the
Man,
show.
it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
You know,
Excited to do it.
it's long overdue, I think. And, you know, a year in review is probably the best one to kick it off with.
Exactly. And the good thing is as well, we've had such a good year of bodybuilding as well, because I think it's been a step up, like in every way almost compared to 2023. So it's
In
exciting to talk about.
every facet,
Yeah,
man. It's been a huge year. So, um,
absolutely.
let's kick it off, man. Like what do you think is the biggest story, the biggest win of the year?
There's two for me, two big ones. And we sort of can't forget about Hardy at the beginning of the year, winning the Arnold Classic and looking phenomenal. But I suppose the shine was maybe slightly taken off that after Samson winning the Olympia and taking that. But I think the highlights are really Samson and Sebum, because obviously the Samson win, we've got our 19th Mr. Olympia, changing the Olympia title again against adversity. I had, an idea behind the scenes of the inner workings of what was going on. So it was really cool to see him triumph against, all odds.
I'm in agreement. Samson's probably the biggest story. Um, and then Sebum winning the sixth and then retiring, you
And doing
know,
open. Open was
and
huge,
doing open. I mean, that's crazy. Well, retiring, unretiring, doing open, and then not necessarily going back to retiring because Buddy leaves it open to
The doors
to
are ajar.
to still maybe go back into open for next year. What do you think of
Mm.
that? I mean, that's just crazy.
I have a feeling, my prediction is that Sebum will do the 2026 Open Mr. Olympia. Maybe 2025, but I just have a feeling that he's not done. Like,
Really?
he's how old now? Like, he's not that old.
He's not
I
even
feel
mid
like he's
30s,
gotten,
right?
no, no, no. He's only, I think, early 30s, maybe at the oldest. So he's young still. Like, I know he's younger than me and I'm 35. So, um, but yeah, getting old. Just realizing.
Don't be throwing around, I'm getting old at 35, okay? Like you're talking to
Well,
51 here. 51.
are you 51? I thought you
51.
were much younger. So, okay, well, that's a
Well, thank
compliment.
you for
So,
that. Thank you for that. That saving grace. But no, 51, dude.
dude, well, you're welcome for the compliment. But yeah, it's just, man, it's been such a good year of bodybuilding overall. Like the C bum move was phenomenal. The Samson win, like we said, against adversity,
Yeah.
was phenomenal. And then talking to him afterwards, I actually missed a call from Samson the night after the Olympia. I think it was like 2 a.m. my time. He called me.
No
I was just like,
way. No
damn
way.
it, I missed it. Like, we talked prior to the Olympia too. So um it was just, when you hear someone talking about their inner workings of their mind, while they're in Vegas in the lead up to the Olympia. And I was saying to him and texting and saying stuff like, dude, imagine if you win this, like, well, you have to do this and all this stuff. And then he wins it. And you're just like, it was a different experience, because I've
Yeah.
interviewed guys and then I've seen them win the Olympia and all that sort of stuff. But to know Samson for 6 years and to know him and talking to him and Mel when they were living in a one-bedroom apartment and
Right,
struggling.
right,
And
right,
Samson even
right.
said to me back then, he said, man, he's like, I don't know if I can keep doing this, man. He's like, I'm just so tired, and it was costing him money. He's losing money. He
Of
lost his
course, of
job.
course, of
All of
course.
that. He went to Korea to do that show. He lost by 1 point to qualifying for the Olympia.
Yeah.
And doing that as well, he did an interview with me and Fuad. And from those interviews, he lost his job. So I felt
No way.
horrendous.
Oh,
Yeah, I
of
felt
course.
horrendous.
Of
He
course.
lost his job. So he went back to the UK with no job, missed out on qualifying for the Olympia by 1 point, and probably wondering, do I keep going? And I know everyone around him then said, nah, keep going, keep going. And if he didn't
Yeah.
have Mel
Yeah.
and people to tell him to keep going,
Yeah.
I just wonder. I'm like, would he have just
What would have
retired, gone and
happened?
played some other sports, and just
Yeah,
had
yeah,
a
yeah.
job?
Yeah. No,
Like,
no, it makes you think. And, you know, it would be totally understandable if he did, right?
exactly,
Totally
yeah,
understandable,
yeah,
but
100%.
Buddy is an absolute champion and he persevered and he pushed through. And look at him, man. I mean, we've got a fantastic Mr. O, I think. In my
Mm.
estimation, he's phenomenal. Samson is kind of a harken back to the old days, like, and the 90s, right? Where it was,
Mm.
size, shape, and symmetry and the conditioning. And Samson just had it. So I think that's the biggest win of 2024 for sure. What about breakout stars? Because I've got
There was a few.
one guy, like, Mike Sommerfeld for me is
Ah, yeah,
an
McClassic. Yeah.
absolute breakout star for me. I would not have been upset if he actually won the classic. I wouldn't have been upset. I wouldn't have been, no way, this is a ripoff type of thing. I wouldn't have been upset about it.
Yeah, I think Sebum wasn't at his very best, I'd say, but he was somewhere close. So it was very
Yeah, yeah,
impressive
yeah.
what Mike did. And with that increase in the weight cap, it just suited Mike so much better.
Yeah,
He was able
yeah.
to come in fuller. He looked harder as well with being fuller because maybe other years he had to push down too hard.
Yep.
So I think that worked for him really, really well. How much more room does he have to move? I don't know in the division. Phil had mentioned as well, but he doesn't like that maybe his shoulders aren't quite as developed or something, but he's got that
Right.
wide structure. I love his shape, like his overall shape and structure in the
Same.
front relaxed and all that. Love it. In a few of the other poses, I'm like, oh, maybe I favor some other guys, but he deserved that placing, man. He deserved that second spot. And some judges had him beating Sebum.
I
That's the
know.
thing.
I know.
Judges had him beating Sebum.
Yep.
So
Yep.
not all of them, obviously, because Sebum got the win, but to have Olympia judges and a decent amount of them, because highs and lows are thrown out,
Yeah.
winning that show, that's a big deal. So he has to be a
That is
favorite
a
going
big
into
deal.
next year. For me, my two big breakouts, there's really a lot of breakouts this year, to be honest. But Good Vito stands out because he was competitive against Martin Fitzwater
Yeah.
earlier this year. And I underestimated him because I thought that he would be in less condition than he was. He's working Chris Aceto now. I thought that he just nailed it. Like he came in really, really good. And I was, yeah, blown away. Martin Fitzwater as well. The two guys in that
Yeah.
same show.
Yep. Yep.
Martin broke out, came fourth in the Olympia. No one saw that coming. I predicted him that he'd be top. I said first call out, I think, like after he did those shows in 2022. So I was always proud of that. And everyone just said, I hope you don't mind me saying, they said, everyone said to me, you just suck Martin's dick all the time. But I was right and vindicated. And
You you you
I didn't
were. You
enough.
were.
I didn't enough because he plays fourth. And I said I said, dude, you'll be like fifth or sixth or something in the 2024 Olympia.
And
So
even
it was
did better.
you did even better. And the same thing as when he which show was it? I think when he did the Texas Pro, I predicted him in like fourth and he got second to Andrew Jacked and
See?
stuff like that. So when I predict Martin not winning, he always tends to outdo my prediction. So I love
Oh
it.
well, dude, awesome. And then you're making everybody eat some humble pie. So that's fantastic. That's just a
Exactly.
little cherry on top for you.
I was actually impressed, dude. I predicted that Sebum would do that Prague show and I did a whole video on it. And a bunch of people said, "Oh, you're wrong," and all that sort of stuff. I had a lot of people come back and say, "Dude, you were right." I'm like, I'm
See?
actually impressed with YouTube
See?
on that. I've got
There
to
you
give them their
go.
flowers on that. So the bodybuilding community, shout out for how many people came back and said, "Dude, you were right."
I want to go into the feel good stories of 2024.
Yes.
And for me there's quite a few and I just caught Ronnie Coleman's few of his uploads. And he's going back to treatment, and he was talking to Jay about it, and he's really kind of gung ho about freaking getting out of the walker and getting his mobility back in a big way. So I'm super excited to see that. Um, the other one is Callum von Moger. You know,
Yeah,
I-
he's definitely
I-
turned things around for
like
sure.
he's
Like
turned things
that's
around, man. You know,
mm,
and I think everybody wants to root for him. Um, Back in the day, I don't know if we can still say Nick T on YouTube
oh
here.
yeah, yeah.
So really had a hate on for Callum, right?
Mm.
And I went in hard on Nick back then, and you know. I think everybody's just kind of rooting for him. He's made some bonehead moves and plays and things, but he's moving in the right direction, and I'm super excited to see that.
Yeah, for sure. Anyone that's been able to turn their life around and change things and stuff, because it did look pretty dark there for Callum for a while. And normally when you see someone on that path, it I mean, obviously his brother, he lost his brother as well, which is
Yeah,
incredibly sad and in all this as well. And it felt like, you know, as sad as it is, it felt non-surprising at that time, and maybe the loss of his brother sort of shocked him in a way
Of
to
course.
go, the same is going to happen to me if I don't turn things around. And he turned things. He seems like he's turning things around. So I hope he continues on that path. And yeah, I love to see stories like that. It's cool.
Yeah. And then what about for you? Any other notable stories that kind of
So,
stand out?
see, the obvious one for me is always Samson because it was
Yeah.
overcoming adversity and to see that happiness. And for a guy to be, one other thing as well is Samson is super grateful for what he has. Which, some people, he's spoken to me privately. I'm sure he wouldn't mind me saying that, some people aren't super psyched when he got like a McLaren. That was like his dream car. And he's like, won the Arnold Classic, won himself $300,000, obviously won some other shows and stuff as well. So
Yeah.
doing well for himself. And he was able to afford a McLaren as his dream car, gets that. And, I think Samson almost naive to it to be like, I've struggled through all this and I got his car. Like, oh, I'm so happy. And then to have some people be like, oh, nice for you or whatever.
Right,
It's
right,
like,
right.
I
Yeah,
think the
yeah. Kind of
Samson,
pissing in his cornflakes, right? And
yeah,
it's like, why?
he's such a kind-hearted person, but he's just so grateful for what he has. So talking to him the other day, it was like mentioning about, he's got a new house and he's building a gym and all that sort of stuff, like a private gym. And just he's like saying, I can't believe it. Like, I can't believe
Yeah.
this is happening, And it's like to hear that from someone, I'm like, I want you to have all this success.
You can tell by looking at the man that he doesn't have that ego. Never mind when you get to know him a little bit, like you have, and just those words, they don't come out of somebody that's ego driven. He's super
No,
appreciative, and when you come across that, you absolutely root for them and you wish them genuinely the best. So
yeah.
so I absolutely love that. Um, let's flip it and slide into the biggest controversies over the past year.
there's a few, there's a
Like
few. I got
dude,
myself wrapped up in a couple, I guess, maybe, but I don't want
and good
to go
because
too
that
hard.
was one of mine. So, freaking you
Revealed.
and what's his name again? Milos.
Milos.
It's man, man,
Yeah,
that was huge. Like you know that
yeah, it was
meme,
mind
right?
blowing.
You
Yeah,
know,
but
yeah, classic. I love that
yeah,
meme. And like classic, but crazy, man. So
it's
biggest controversies.
yeah. I mean, there was a lot, man. There was a lot of controversies. What I found this year as well is no, not one specific, but in terms of judging, because the way they did the call outs in bodybuilding shows, they had it so it was every guy gets to go in the middle. So
Yep,
after
yep,
prejudging, much of the time, whoever looked best in the photos or the first photos that went up online, 65% of the fans or 70% of the fans are saying that guy should win.
yep.
Now, sometimes I had a varying opinion because I watched the stream, and sometimes when you see the movement, not just the screenshots or the
It'll
photos,
highlight
it looks like
something that photos miss.
looks
Yep.
like a different show. Same thing as actually the show that Horse MD most recently did. I believe he looked better in photos, but when you saw the video, you could see the conditioning wasn't 100% where it needed to be. So a lot of fans are saying a Horse MD should have been top four or whatever. I'm like, I actually don't think so. I think if you watched the stream and you saw the photos and you could take a whole overview of the show. So I think there's a lot of controversies coming out of prejudging. 70%, 60% of people having one guy winning and then the
Yeah.
other guy winning.
Yeah, yeah, that's a
Uh,
great point. Yeah, I like that.
yeah. So that, which I actually love, to be honest. It's fun because at finals, you're going into it going, I think this guy's winning. And then a few times I'm like, whoa, like even me, I was like,
Yeah.
I'm actually a little surprised, but it made it fun. So whether everyone got the right call or whatever, like the judges are there in person. I'm sure they get a much better view than me watching a stream that's in low quality.
1,000%. What about some of the crazy stuff? Like Mike
I
Van
mean, like
Wyck.
this, there's
And
been a
then
lot lately.
and
Like
and, and then dude, the whole coaching
Fuad,
thing.
the last few days.
Fuad. Man.
I actually very much on the side of Fuad in this situation
Of
because
course.
that guy is an absolute.
Of
If
course. He's a
he
degenerate,
allegedly,
dude.
yeah, let's say allegedly
Allegedly,
sent those emails. That is the if he had
if
sent those, which I believe, well,
in
Fuad
my
believes to be true.
estimation, he did, but
If
if
he
he
did
sent
that,
them,
he deserves to have his tricep torn off the bone, and Fuad deserves to be able to do to give him a good whack because
Absolutely.
yeah, it's and the way they were trying to set that up, they're like Fuad, pushed him off, and then they go, oh, my head, and I'm like, oh, were you just trying to clip that bit? Were you like, oh, I see what you did?
Of course. And I
Like,
called it out on some
mm.
video. I think it might have been, and we'll get to Greg Doucette. Um, so it might
He
have been Greg.
apologized. He ate his
Yes.
words.
Um, it's like he's saying all the buzzwords, right? Like the camera is solely on Fuad. Uh, they spark Fuad to initiate contact, right? By going right up into his face. Of course, somebody's going to push you away, knock you away if you get right up there on him, right? Um,
Mm,
he did the whole hands behind his back. Why? Because that shows to when they take it to the police that he wasn't looking for a fight. My arms are behind my back, so I wasn't looking for anything. You know,
mm.
all of these things were done deliberately because they wanted to elicit that reaction. And then he caught himself on tape saying, "Oh, my head really hurts. I can't drive right now." You don't talk like that in real life if you just got if you got beat up or you got hit or something like this.
No,
But he's saying
no.
everything that he should for the evidence that is going to be presented, and he's apparently suing now. So
Oh, is he? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, he's apparently suing now. Surprise, surprise. So so
Oh my
so so
God.
so so that the Mike Van Wyck thing, crazy as well. Um
I think Fuad would welcome it, to be honest, because he's going to sell more t-shirts and get more popular. And to
and
be honest, like I messaged Fuad and was like, dude, I'm like, get him,
yeah, 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 yeah,
like, oh,
yeah.
exactly.
So I'm with Fuan on this one. I wish I could message him but he blocked me like a long time ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Over a Sam Sulek video I did of him. Oh,
Oh,
said,
okay.
but I never have any type of malice in my heart towards anybody, and
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I'm just calling a situation like I see it. And there's certainly no malice in my heart for Fuad. And so I commented on one of his older videos on YouTube saying that, Fuad, I hope that you're okay. I hope your family's okay. And we side with you and this is wrong. So, I put that out there and I hope he sees it. And I hope he's all right. And I mean, he's got all of us behind him for sure. Super wrong.
Yeah.
And then Greg Doucette jumping in because he wants to be first.
He went way too quick on that. Way too quick.
Man,
And look, the thing is, I get that, but at the same time, in such a scathing video to release on someone and not to reach out to them first
yeah,
is wild. Even if you don't
it
get on,
really
like
is.
I've reached out to Fuad before on stuff. Like even when we were, look, I think there's a lot of stuff that went down behind the scenes and fake accounts that messaged probably Fuad or whatever that made a bit of a rift between me and him. So,
Yep,
and it
yep,
wasn't
yep.
wasn't like we had a big rift, but that's a story to come out maybe later on. But about who might have been doing that. But yeah, like I just think that I think Fuad has probably chilled a bit in terms of like he even admits, on his podcast that he was a hothead and all that sort of stuff and talks about it. So I think that as people get older and they go through stuff, they sort of chill with that sort of
We certainly do as
getting
somebody
as
in the
offended or
elder.
whatever.
Yeah, yeah. We do
Yeah.
chill and we do mellow out a little bit. So,
Yeah. And you don't
but
take things as serious as well. Like I know
no,
for
no, you
Fuad,
can't. You can't. You
he even
can't.
said
Life is too
recently,
short.
he said his whole social media thing, he says it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter. Like that's not what my life is. It's just a
No,
aspect
no,
or
no,
whatever.
no.
And I'm like, that is so true. Because when the whole Milos thing happened, and I know you got to get going real soon.
I do.
But when that happened, it's funny because it starts happening and then you get people saying some nasty things. And then you at first it might, go, oh, gee, that's pretty harsh or whatever.
Yep, yep.
And you feel some sort of way. But then after a little bit of time, it's just those comments, you just almost like see them and one will pop up and you just go, oh my God. And you smile. And
Oh,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah, 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 yeah. No,
when you can
exactly.
laugh in the face
Yep,
of someone throwing, stones or whatever at you,
yep, yep, yep.
and
That's
saying
when you know
some
you're in a good
nasty
place.
things,
Yeah,
you're good. Yeah, you're
you know
good.
you're in a good
And
place.
it might not be always, but if you can do that a little bit, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, yeah. Um, okay. few more. So viral moments. We've talked about viral moments a little bit. Um,
Mm,
but I think a huge viral moment for me, like Sebum has owned a bunch of viral moments this year, like absolutely insane, and he's cultivating it very smartly, right? With how he announces the Gymshark thing, right? The fake press conference that something's being announced. Everybody's thinking retirement. Nope, it's I own Gymshark. Um, so
mm.
that
I don't.
um,
I'll say I don't think that was actually the smartest thing. It got eyes, but I think it annoyed people
it
too
did annoy
much.
people. It did, but
But it got eyes.
virality is viral, right? And
Exactly. Yep.
Sebum getting second place in an open show, Sebum retiring,
Oh,
Sebum unretiring to then get into that open show, and then teasing that, well, maybe I'll do an open again, you know, and so
yeah,
he takes away from him actually retiring. So I mean, Sebum has owned viral in 2024. Um, I wanted to switch it
yeah.
around again and kind of talk within our niche, breakout creator of the year. Why don't we do this? Now,
Oh,
now I might
breakout
have thrown
creator.
that one at you, but the first guy that comes to my mind is Johnny Bravo.
Yeah, I mean, he was
Like
always there, but
he
he
he was
has
always there,
really gone to the
but
next level.
I think it's a breakout year. You know,
Yeah, he's
he
done
he's
brilliant.
been
He's done
in
brilliant.
yeah, he's been in the like the mainstream media a few times. I
Yeah.
even think TMZ, or
Yep.
well, we should say TMZ. So, you know, I think John Bravo has had a breakout year, and I'm happy for the cat, and it's fantastic. He's been caught up in some controversy as well. So I want to kind of segue into top creator controversies. What
A
are you
little bit
thinking?
me,
Well,
I guess.
you are number one on my list.
Fuad is always,
Fuad, you got to
always,
you got to count in there. He's always in
yeah.
the mix one way or another, whether he likes it or not. He's in there. So, um, well, Xavier, thank you for joining me, man. I super appreciate it. What's one thing that you're going to take out of 2024 as the biggest story of the year, and kind of maybe even carry over into 2025? And I think we should definitely kind of get our crystal balls out and maybe meet up for another video and kind of
Yes.
predict what a 2025 season looks like for us, because this has
Bold
been a
predictions or
banger
something.
of a year. Sorry?
Bold predictions.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's do it before the end of the year, and let's see what 2025 is gonna bring us. But what? How do you wrap up 2024 in our beloved industry, bodybuilding? What do you think?
Well, I think it was the best year for bodybuilding that I've ever covered bodybuilding. So that's a positive in the pro ranks. So the increase in prize money, everything that happened towards that.
Yes,
And it's
yes,
almost like a bidding war now for these shows. And the start of the year next year, if you look at those shows back to back, what we're seeing, the Detroit Pro, which has an increase in prize money and is doing very well, is actually like the lowest prize money show out of a whole group in that
right,
period. We're
right.
getting 500,000 at the Arnold, we're getting 600,000 plus at the Olympia. Bodybuilding is growing. So I feel very, very encouraged with C-Bum potentially not retired, Samson Dowder winning the Olympia. Feel good stories. I feel like we've got good momentum. And we've
Yep.
got Samson Dowder doing the Arnold Classic. We've got the Mr. Olympia competing at least twice.
Once
Could be
again,
more.
dude.
Could be more
Dude, I mean,
in
I
2025.
am all for that because I've been following bodybuilding for forever. And the champs used to do the other shows, man. The New York
Mm.
Pro, the Arnold, stuff like this. It was phenomenal to be following the sport back then. And Samson's bringing it back.
100%. Yeah. And I think it's great for the industry. So, yeah, I'm super excited to cover bodybuilding in 2025. And I think we're going to see a really good season. And we've got one show to go this weekend, depending when this
Yes,
podcast goes up. It might have
yes,
been
yes,
weekend just
yes.
gone. So,
Oh my God, I know I'm excited. Dude, thank you so much. We'll leave it
man,
there
anytime.
and we'll catch up with you guys next time. Dude, Xavier, thank you.